Japan in Singapore. Do you want to visit Japan and you can because of the current COVID-19 situation? Then you must visit the Japanese Cemetery Park. Tucked away in a quiet residential area of Hougang is the Japanese Cemetery Park. When you're here, it's easy to forget that you're in Singapore with its beautiful floral archways and quaint Japanese architecture. This peaceful park will whisk you to Japan with its well-manicured and zen-like surroundings. Feeling stressed and want to relax? Feel free to have a relaxing stroll at this park that has a stress-relieving and calm atmosphere. Are you interested in photography? If yes, Japanese Cemetery Park is a must-go-to place for you. You can take pictures of its quaint Japanese architecture that the place contains and its beautiful floral archways. You can even visit this fascinating place to learn more about who were buried there and its history. Want to know more about the heritage that this park contains? It has an old lychee tree and a rubber tree that are certified as heritage trees, which many of us are unaware of. This park also has some interesting attractions, such as the statues dressed in a red cloth, which is a representation of Jiso, a divine figure in Shinto Buddhism, and Yamamoto Otokichi's tombstone, which can be easily spotted among the rest as it is one of the largest tombstones. So, what you can see and do in Japanese Cemetery Park? You can see its prayer hall. In Japanese, it is called Mido, and also take pictures of its tombstones and its floral archways. The 910 tombstones in the Japanese Cemetery Park are each uniquely shaped and etched. More than half of them are smaller, nondescript tombstones belonging to the earliest Japanese immigrants, many of whom worked at brothels and died in poverty. But towering over the others are more opulent monuments commemorating notable figures such as Yamamoto Otokichi's tombstone. Spanning over 4 soccer fields, the Japanese Cemetery Park is crisscrossed by whimsical floral archways lined with pretty bougainvilleas. These provide much needed shade along the main paths of the park, but they are best known for being reminiscent of the dreamy springtime cherry blossom you might catch in Japan. Interested to know about Japanese Cemetery Park's rich history? The Japanese brothel owner Takajiro Fukuoki donated 7 acres of his rubber plantation to be used as a burial ground for young Japanese women who died in destitution. Together with Shibuya Ginji and Nakagawa Kikuzo, he applied for the permission and it was granted for this use on 26 June 1891. Since then, it was used to bury Japanese residents. During World War II, the cemetery was also used to bury civilians and soldiers who lost their lives on the battlefield or to illness. Have you been hearing Yamamoto Otokichi's name twice in my presentation? Who is he? Well, he is the first Japanese resident of Singapore whose tomb is located here. After the British repatriated all the Japanese in 1948, no Japanese were allowed back into Singapore or Malaya for fear of their war past. The Singapore government took over the ownership of the cemetery and left it disused. In 1969, the Singapore government handed back the ownership of the cemetery to the reformed Japanese Association, which decided to call the beautiful building Mido and not Terra, meaning temple, as the Japanese Association determined that the cemetery should not belong to any particular religion, which oversees the maintenance of the cemetery. Who said Singapore is one of the most boring places in the world? In fact, Singapore has lots of interesting places that has little well-known facts. Did you know that this park is the largest Japanese cemetery in Southeast Asia and is one of the oldest cemeteries still in existence in Singapore, tracing its history to the end of 1800s? What are you waiting for? Visit Japanese Cemetery Park now!